Start. The understanding of energy security has changed over the years, more so in the Indian context. In the early 1970s, energy security was more about safeguarding the economy from a situation of energy shortages and consequent spurts of high energy prices. The 12th Five-Year Plan defined energy security as ensuring uninterrupted supply of energy to support economic and commercial activities needed for sustained economic growth. Today, this has evolved further to include broader aspects such as those of ensuring energy access to all sections of society and the need for diversifying the energy basket to hedge against economic and non-economic risks. More than 5 decades after independence, 23.6% of India's population still lives below $1.25 per day, the 2004 extreme poverty line based on purchasing power parity. At present, India houses about 18% of the world's population but consumes only 5.7% of the global energy. Per capita energy demand has grown modestly since 2000 but continues to remain about a third of the global average and slightly lower than the levels in Africa. About 75 million households, a third of the total, are still not connected to grid electricity, and 80% of rural households use traditional biomass as a primary source for cooking. The challenges to India's energy security at this juncture are therefore unique and formidable. On one hand, India faces the pressure of having to provide higher levels and better quality of energy, infrastructure and services to its people and fulfill the aspirations of a growing economy. On the other hand, it faces pressure to try and fulfill these aspirations of a growing economy within a constrained environmental space that has been taken up by countries whose development preceded ours. Further, constraints of land, water and material resource availability may further compound and jeopardize the ability to adopt options that could provide the requisite flexibilities needed for rapid growth. Recognizing the implications of human health, discussions regarding the high and increasing levels of local air pollution have also moved from being a subject of limited reach at conferences to becoming common dinner table conversations. At the global level, the latest IPCC report clearly indicates that the chances of containing global temperature increases to within 2-degree increase is increasingly becoming less likely and therefore greater likelihood of climate change related extreme events. With a considerable population dependent on natural resources resource-based livelihoods and with poor coping capacities, India is also highly vulnerable to climate change related impacts and must remain proactive to be part of the solution. Following the historical Paris Agreement of December 2015, an analysis of the intended nationally determined contributions (INDCs) submitted by all countries indicates that the combined targets are clearly insufficient to keep the world within the safe limits of 2 degrees increase. Poverty eradication and inclusive growth remain an important agenda for the country. Accordingly, the Indian government aspires to maintain a high GDP growth rate so as to double per capita incomes every decade and improve the welfare of its people. Therefore, with a large population base aspiring for growth over the next couple of decades, India's energy sector is on the verge of a huge transformation as the economy expands, incomes rise, energy access improves, manufacturing becomes a bigger part of the economy, and the country sees greater urbanization. India already has the world's third largest electricity generation capacity, and rapid economic growth coupled with a rising share of manufacturing in GDP is likely to spur this growth further. As indicated in Figure 1, there is a strong and inexorable link between energy and the Human Development Index. Therefore, as India improves its HDI level, it would be a challenge to contain per capita power consumption levels to reasonable levels by adopting an appropriate suite of technologies and not following the inefficient paths that some of the developed countries have earlier moved along. Population growth and economic development are the two main drivers of energy demand. Between 2001 and 2011, India's population grew from about 1 billion to 1.2 billion, with economic growth averaging 8% a year.